All right, let's jump right in. So, the author of our source material did something pretty wild. He read over 100 self-help books. And you know what he realized? Learning a bunch of stuff isn't the same as actually doing anything. He found that out of all that reading, only 3 core lessons really truly moved the needle in his own life. So today, we're going to explore those 3 big ideas, the ones that can actually create lasting change.
Does this sound familiar? It's such a common feeling, isn't it? You finish a book, you're all fired up, you've got all this new knowledge, but then a few weeks go by and, well, nothing's really different. You're still you, and your problems are still right there with you. So, why does that happen?
Well, according to the source, we usually get it completely backward. We read what's popular or what we think will make us perfect. We try to force ourselves to wake up at 5 a.m. when the real problem is that we waste 3 hours every afternoon. We're trying to build a perfect skyscraper when our foundation has a bunch of cracks. The key isn't about perfection, it's about solving what's actually broken. And that first step, it starts with the person you talk to the most. Now, when you hear the word communication, you're probably thinking about talking to other people, right? Your boss, your partner, your friends. But this first lesson is all about the most critical conversation you'll ever have, the one going on inside your own head. And this is so important to understand. There's a huge difference between shallow confidence and deep confidence. Shallow confidence, that's all performance. It's about using hacks and tricks to look confident. It's exhausting because you're just faking it to impress people. But deep confidence, that's the real deal. It comes from the inside. It's about genuine self-acceptance, just being comfortable with who you are. And you build that through something called positive self-talk. So what is positive self-talk, really? It's way more than just repeating affirmations in the mirror. It's the actual skill of being your own best coach, especially when things go wrong. It's what helps you bounce back from a setback instead of letting one little mistake completely derail you. Okay, so let's look at how this works in the real world. Let's say you blew your diet and ate a bunch of junk food. The normal reaction is to spiral, right? To feel guilty and beat yourself up. But the self-forgiveness process is totally different. Step 1, acknowledge it happened. Okay. Step 2, forgive yourself. It's not the end of the world. And step 3, the most important part, create an action plan. You know what? To compensate, I'm going to go for a 20-minute run later. See? The focus immediately shifts from shame to a solution. And here's a powerhouse technique from the source. When he's facing a really tough problem at work, instead of thinking, oh man, this is too hard, I can't do this, he asks himself this one question. Instantly, his brain flips a switch. It goes from being stuck on the problem to actively searching for a solution. That's the power of framing that conversation in your own head. All right, let's move on to lesson number 2 and see how these ideas build on each other. For decades, society has sold us a very specific idea about what success and happiness looks like. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? You know the drill. When we make money the center of our universe, it starts this predictable negative cycle. We're always chasing a bigger salary, which leads to greed, that feeling that it's never enough. And that, of course, creates tons of anxiety because there's always someone who has more than you. And pretty often, it leads to isolation as we jump from job to job, city to city, leaving our friends and our roots behind. But here's the alternative, and it's a game changer. You just flip the script. Instead of putting money at the center of your life, you put community there. You volunteer, you join local groups, you invest your time and energy in the people right there around you. And when you do that, something amazing happens. The desperate need for more stuff, more money, it just starts to fade away because your happiness is coming from a much, much deeper place. And listen, this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea. It is backed up by some serious science. One of the longest-running studies on human happiness, we're talking decades of research from Harvard, found that the single greatest predictor of a happy and healthy life isn't your wealth, it's not your fame, it is, by a huge margin, the quality of your human relationships. Okay, on to our third and final lesson. And this is the engine. This is the how-to that powers everything else we've talked about. Because if you really want to change your life, you have to change what you do every single day. Think about that for a second. It's such a profound idea. Who you are right now, your health, your career, your level of happiness, it's pretty much just the sum total of the habits you've repeated over and over again. They decide everything. So the most important skill you could possibly learn is how to consciously, deliberately build good ones. So how do you actually do that? Well, the source suggests this brilliant, simple technique called an anchor habit. The idea is that your existing habits, the things you do without thinking, they aren't a weakness. They're actually your greatest strength because you can use them as a trigger to build something new. Here's a perfect example. You already have a habit, right? You turn off your bedroom light before you go to sleep. That's your anchor. Now, you just attach a new habit to it. Right before you turn off the light, you will read 5 pages of a book. Suddenly, that old automatic action of reaching for the light switch becomes the trigger that reminds you to do the new thing. It's that simple. And what's really amazing is that good habits create a domino effect. The source tells the story about a friend who started with just one simple habit, running before work. That one single habit led him to stop eating so much junk food. Because he had more energy, he started picking up his old reading habit again. See? One good habit doesn't just add to your life, it multiplies. Okay, let's zoom out for a moment. Because these habits, these personal changes, they aren't just about improving your own life. As we're about to see, the impact is actually so much bigger than that. I want you to really think about this. The habits you build today don't just end with you. They get passed on, whether you realize it or not, to your kids. They influence your friends, your coworkers, your community. A habit of kindness helps create a kinder world. A habit of learning creates a smarter world. In a very real way, your personal habits are quite literally shaping the future. So, after 100 books, this is what it all comes down to. These 3 lessons. First, master that inner conversation with positive, constructive self-talk. Second, find real, lasting happiness by centering your life around community, not money. And third, use the routines you already have as anchors to build new habits that will literally change everything. So here's the crucial point. It's not about becoming some perfect person overnight. It's just about starting one small positive change. Because that one single habit won't just change your future, it sends a ripple out into the world. The only question left is, what ripple are you going to start?